Hi, this is Paul Nickerbricker with Be Your Best Academy, where champions inspire to share, sweat, smile, and succeed. We bridge the gap between your potential and game performance. We are here in Aberdeen, where the Ironbirds play, and we also have 3P Sports' Rick Peterson with us. So, Rick Peterson, as many of you know, has been involved as a pitching instructor, pitching coach with the Oakland A's during Moneyball. He's coached the elite pitchers of all time. He's worked with youth, and so we're very fortunate to join forces with Rick and 3P Sports to enhance the system, pitching system that we have today. So what I'd like to do is take a few minutes of Rick's time before he gets out here and works out with his pitchers, is talk a little bit about the fastball and the 4-seam grip and the 2-seam grip, because ideally with our fastball we want to try to get some sink. So I think you're going to find this very interesting. So this is Be Your Best Academy's Timely Tips by Rick Peterson. Rick?
Well, Paul, there's two basic fastballs. You have one that's a 4-seam fastball that'll get backspin. So typically on a 4-seam fastball, you want to take a look at the horseshoe of the ball. So when you take a look at the horseshoe, I'm left-handed, so this is a little bit higher. So here I would go across the seam right here, making sure that this part of my fingers right here have that seam.
So the long finger on the long part of this horseshoe or the reverse seam.
Correct. And if it was a right-hander, then you're looking at right here.
Finger pads, fingertips?
Absolutely. Well, you're looking at this crease of your fingers. You want that hooking that seam.
Finger pads, not fingertips.
Exactly. And then the thumb is underneath the baseball. There's typical ways that guys hold the fastball. Some guys will curl the thumb under. That's very individual. But the bottom line is that you can see the ball symmetrical in my hand. And when the ball comes out of my hand, we get backspin.
So you're cutting the ball in half with your thumb.
Exactly right. So you have a 4-seam grip and you get that backspin. The thing that's interesting about what people call the 2-seam grip, we're not really looking for 2-seam spin. We're looking for a ball. The 2-seam grip, typically we're looking for a pitch, that fastball that's going to sink. It's going to finish at the bottom of the strike zone. And the one thing that's really interesting, when you look at data at the major league level, all balls that were put in play last year in 2012 at the major league level, at the very bottom of the strike zone, at the bottom of the knee and below, the average batting average was 193. And we actually put a line in front of our catcher, in front of home plate, to indicate the 193 line. So when you talk about a 2-seam grip, typically most people talk about this, talk about going across the seam, hooking seam, 1-seam grips. There's multiple different grips and it's individual. But the bottom line, Paul, is what is going to get this pitch to sink? It's that spin right there. You have that one line going right through the ball. This seam right here goes all the way through, and if you get that one line going through the ball, that pitch will sink. So, for example, Tommy Glavine, when we were together in New York, he holds it like this, but Tommy got this spin. Tim Hudson held it like this, but he got this spin. So as a pitching coach, we have to look at each individual pitcher and take a look at how they hold the ball and keep playing with multiple different grips. Be creative until you get this spin, because if we get this spin, that ball will sink. It's actually a one seam as the axis, and that ball is going to have the optimal opportunity to sink and develop a ground ball. Because the two very bottom lines, when you look at elite pitching, when you measure that through data, it's a swing and a miss in the strike zone or a ground ball. Ground balls are critical.
How about that, pitchers? That's interesting stuff. Burt Blyleven, is it true that he threw his curveball, his slider, his changeup, his fastball with one grip?
I don't know that.
That's interesting.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
But it's not so much the grip. I mean, it used to be kind of a joke when I was in Oakland, because Barry Zito probably had the best curveball in baseball, and everybody would say, Rick, can you give me like the big secret? Like, how does Z hold his curveball? Well, I can show you, but you're not throwing his curveball because it's individual. I mean, everybody's fingers are a little bit different, how the ball comes off, different finger pressure. We don't necessarily teach that much. It's pretty much natural. But if you have the proper grip and proper spin, you'll have a 4-seam grip that stays true, and you'll have a grip off the 2-seam grip that's going to create that one seam down the middle, and that ball, that pitch right there will definitely sink.
Very good. No cookie cutter approach here. It's all about working with your athlete, working with your pitcher, and finding out what works for him. So thank you, Rick. I appreciate your time.
My pleasure.
All right.